This is the Mountaineer Moment, your source for all things West Virginia football and basketball. From pregame to postgame coverage and breaking news, we've got you covered. Let's go. Mountaineer fans, welcome to another episode number 31 of Mountaineer Moment, as we are well into Utah game week, preparing ourselves for the Mountaineers' second game in Big 12 conference play. The first one certainly didn't go as planned with the blowout loss to Kansas, but we are onward and upward to other things here, and this is part of a 4-week little mini series, I guess you could say, dedicated to Utah football. And so this is episode number 3 in this, 31 overall on this young podcast, but episode number 3 dedicated specifically to this Mountaineer matchup with the Utes as they come to Morgantown for their first ever visit to Morgantown as a football program. First couple episodes, if you didn't catch those, you definitely should go back and watch it. Did a fun one of just some over-unders to look for like we've done every week heading into the game. And then another one, a little bit of a scouting report focused on the Utah offense, but specifically on their talented transfer quarterback from New Mexico, Devin Dampier. And really just broke down his game, what he brings to the table, what he presents as a challenge for the Mountaineer defense that is up against, once again, a dual-threat quarterback and how they're going to handle that. So if you haven't checked those ones out, make sure you do. And if you haven't subscribed yet to Mountaineer Moment, I would entreat you to do so. Okay, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, wherever you're listening or watching, please consider subscribing or subscribe on all of those platforms. That would be great. Because it helps me and it helps you. Again, we have content every single week, with the football program, and excited for basketball season to get here too, so we can cover them in that way. But this is a podcast that started just at the beginning of football season, a week before kickoff, and we're 30 episodes in, and so you do the math. I mean, we are, bringing out episodes, several a week, 5, 6, 7 a week. And happy to be doing it. We're not going anywhere anytime soon. So Mountaineer Moment, West Virginia football and basketball. This episode, again, dedicated to focusing on Utah and what they present. And we're just going to highlight some storylines to watch for in this one. Sometimes we do some keys to victory or just things to keep an eye on. We're just going to, both in the game and, coming into the game, some things to take note of as we inch closer to game day between the Mountaineers and the Utes. And I've said it in every episode so far, I think, regarding this Utah team that we've specifically talked about them. We're going to have an angry football team coming into Morgantown. They got embarrassed on their home field 34-10 when they were ranked 16th in the country, playing against number 17 Texas Tech, who's up to number 12 in the country. They entered 3-0, and they left 3-1, and they fell from the AP poll. So now they're hitting the road, coming all the way to Morgantown, and you can bet they're a little angry. They got a chip on their shoulder. They got something to prove, and so we're going to get an angry, talented, focused football team that earned their number 16 ranking in the AP poll, but now they're trying to climb back into that and trying to avoid an 0-2 start to the conference season, just like the Mountaineers are. So that's kind of a bonus one because I didn't even plan on kind of saying that, but that's the storyline. Which of these teams is going to fall to 0-2? And you hope it's not the Mountaineers. So other than that, though, we got 3 storylines to focus on as we inch closer to game day. So number 1 is this Mountaineer injury situation, because they got a lot of them, and they just keep piling up. We know the story coming out of the Ohio game. You lose your star running back, Jaheim White, for the season. Done. Terrible. You feel so bad for Jaheim, and you lose your main returner on offense. Gone. Not to mention that you lose a starting wide receiver in Jaden Bray, who is looking to, his second year as a Mountaineer, but really looking to do something this year. Looking to be healthy, and obviously just an injury that ends his season. Feel terrible for him too. But then the injuries just kept coming. So Ty Edwards had this breakout game against Pitt, his first time getting carries, as a Mountaineer, 141 yards on 25 carries, 3 touchdowns. You know the deal. Had the game-winning touchdown, or what proved to be the game-winning touchdown in overtime. But he was a little banged up, and a little more banged up than we thought. Heading into Kansas, it was like, all right, he's going to play. He's listed as probable, questionable, or he's going to play. Then he's a game-time decision. Then he doesn't play. And now Rich Rod's saying, in his early week press conference that it's doubtful that he'll play against Utah. And now it's like, okay, what in the world is going on? Then you talk about Landon Livingston. It's not over, right? Your starting center is hurt and questionable to play, went out in the Kansas game. But wait, there's more. Nico Markiel. Apparently, again, early week press conference, he's questionable with a foot injury, and apparently he's in, or probably back in Morgantown by now. Went to Colorado to see a foot specialist for this injury he's been having, and sounds like just a nagging thing that's been brought some pain over the last couple weeks. He's questionable, and a few others, right? Like there's some guys really banged up. Preston Fox didn't play against Kansas, questionable. Here coming up, Sincere Bowers, concussion against Kansas. He ain't gonna play, right? Like this is pretty wild. Kind of a side storyline could be what Rich Rod said about Dior Hubbard, maybe getting some more reps in practice to potentially get some more carries coming in here to play against Utah. So the injury thing is like, okay, who's gonna play and who's gonna sit? And even if Nico gets back and he's healthy and he's ready to go, is he even going to be the starting quarterback anymore? And if you've listened to any episode so far, chances are you've heard me say this. This is an ever-changing, ever-evolving quarterback situation that Rich Rod and the Mountaineers have on their hands. I mean, it is just constantly up, down, up, down, up, down. You think, all right, Nico's the guy. It's over. No one's out. No one else is going to play. Not that you would word it like that, but it was like, all right, especially after what he did against Pitt, to get benched, come back, win the game. Like, all right, he's the guy. He's the guy. Then he struggled so much against Kansas. Nico struggled too, but the whole offense. I mean, the whole offense just didn't do anything, right? And Jaylen Henderson checks in. Looked pretty good, right, with his legs. I get it. It was a blowout game at that point, and it's like, all right, well, Jaylen Henderson played quarterback, led the Mountaineers to their only touchdown. Had, I think, 79 yards rushing for a team that couldn't do anything with the ball. So we're gonna get to that too, and just a little bit. But the number one storyline for the purpose of this episode is these injuries. What the heck's gonna happen? I mean, who's gonna step up now? What's it gonna look like? And again, this is a team that's certainly had their struggles all season long. Ups and downs. Every game, even within every game. It's football, it happens. But now the injuries are piling up, especially this offense. I mean, how many running backs are going to go down? We just rattled them off. Jaheim White out for the season. Ty Edwards now going to miss probably his second game in a row. Sincere Bowers got rocked on a dirty hit on a concussion. What are you going to do? So that's a storyline as we inch closer to game day. Who's going to play? Who's not going to play? And we're going to get, I promise you, we're going to get to that quarterback situation in just a second. Secondly, I mean, what's an episode of Mountaineer Moment? What's an episode of any Mountaineer podcast anywhere that talks about football? It doesn't talk about this Mountaineer offensive line that has been bad all season long. They've struggled. And now you're going up against a Utah team, again, not too far removed from being ranked as the 16th best team in the country. No slouch. They got some dudes on defense. They rank 4th in the Big 12 behind West Virginia, a couple others, with 10 sacks. Your starting center might not play. You got a team coming in that can get after the quarterback, and you've already struggled to protect your quarterback all season. Chemo at the guard, Walter Youngbear, they've just struggled and struggled so much through 4 games. Their PFF grades are horrendous. They're ranking out of all the offensive guards on the season in all of college football are very, very, very low. It's not good. And so your offensive line now is going to go up at home against a Utah team that's coming in angry, coming in with something to prove, and coming in with with the knowledge, obviously, and this coaching staff has a knowledge of just how much this West Virginia offensive line has struggled. They're licking their chops a little bit. I would be, wouldn't you? Wouldn't you? Offensive line has been bad. Now you got a team that's good, talented, coming in off a blowout loss at home, and they want to right the ship. They want to right the ship a little bit, and they think this is a team that they can do it against, frankly. Now, the storyline to watch for me in this one, again, Landon Livingston, center, is he going to play? We don't know yet. Injury or no injury, again, there's a couple of those other guys I just named. I mean, at what point are we going to start looking at some other guys? We've seen very little. But what we're rolling out there as a starting unit ain't working. By and large, ain't working. And so, I mean, again, the whole offense with injuries and even defense. There's so many new guys on this team. You had an awful game against Ohio. You came back and won the backyard brawl. Then you laid an absolute egg against Kansas. And so now you're through week 4. You're 0-1 in conference play. And there's already injuries, but this could be a time where we start seeing some new faces along the offensive line, defensively as well. It could be a new starting quarterback based on injury or based on performance, right? We don't know, but it could be a new starting quarterback. So keep an eye on that. That's a major storyline in this one, because if West Virginia's offensive line continues to be as bad as they've been, you just ain't going to win. Right? The offensive line is going to have to take some major strides. Offensively, the whole unit is going to have to take some major strides, find some dudes, get Cam Vaughn back involved, find a running back that's going to step up if Ty Edwards can't go. And you're going to have to play a lot better if you want to win. Period. All right. Third and final storyline to keep an eye on. The moment you've been waiting for is this quarterback situation with the Mountaineers. Again, Nico might be sidelined with an injury or might be sidelined because it's time for a change. If Rich Rod deems it so. Henderson limited playing time so far. Nico started every game. Henderson's, got a little play time here and there. And while Markiel might be the better passer, better leader even, whatever you want to say as to why he got the job, and I think he was the right guy to give the job out the gate, I do, because, again, look what he did against Pitt, and Henderson, getting a few opportunities, but he hasn't done a whole lot. Until the Kansas game when it was already a blowout and he engineered a touchdown drive with his legs and looked really good doing so. Obviously, Nico's a better accurate passer. And something we've already talked about this week, especially in previous episodes, is this fact that this is the cards we're dealt, right? This is what Rich Rod's got. If you think Rich Rod playing a game of cards, right? This is his hand. This is what he's got. He's got an offensive line that's struggling, certainly to protect the quarterback in the passing game. He's got wide receivers struggling to get open, struggling to get separation, struggling to find easy connections or even deep balls. We're just not connecting, not even trying them because of this offensive line and their inability to protect. You got arguably your top 3 running backs who might not go in Morgantown against Utah. He might, we know he's not going to go. Ty Edwards is doubtful. Sincere Bowers got a concussion. That's 3. Boom, done. And then you got a quarterback who's hurt, who's in Colorado seeing a foot specialist, and his backup, along with the other two guys on the bench, are better runners. Just flat out, straight up, better with their legs than Nico Markgill is. So might it be time for Jaylen Henderson to start at quarterback? A lot of people say Scotty Fox, Khalil Wilkins, I get it, but Jaylen Henderson's obviously proven to be able to run effectively, and Mountaineers' offensive line again, you think back to Pitt, Ty Edwards goes off. Offensive line still had issues that game, but and Ty Edwards made things happen. Broke a lot of tackles. Jaylen Henderson can make guys miss. He can, when the play breaks down, and it will with this offensive line, right? Again, you're playing the card, they're playing the hand that you're dealt, dealing with the cards that you got. Maybe because of, again, if we might be sitting here praising Nico all day long if we had a star-studded offensive line in front of him, giving him time to throw, giving him time to make the right read and even tuck it and run a little bit. But because they've played the way that they have, is it time for Jaylen Henderson? And I think it might be. I just, and I've said it, if this offensive line doesn't improve in a major way, okay, let's go. Jaylen Henderson, maybe he can do something when plays break down, because they're going to. It's as simple as that. Pocket collapses. The backfield collapses when you hand it off. But a running quarterback has a better chance, I should say, a better opportunity, better chance, more likely to make something happen when they got nothing to work with. Nico simply hasn't really been able to do a whole lot of that. And now he's hurt a little bit. We don't know his status for Saturday, but maybe it is going to be Jaylen Henderson's opportunity. We shall see. Again, this is episode number 31. Just a few storylines to look for as we head into game day on Saturday for the Mountaineers and the Utah Utes at 3:30 in Morgantown. Again, this is Mountaineer Moment, your source for all things West Virginia football and basketball. We will see you next time. We got another episode coming even this week, just previewing this, talking about some of the things we've talked about here, but previewing it on a larger scale, what the Mountaineers are up against with Utah. So we'll see you next time. Let's go Mountaineers.